This is my first encounter with the paranormal. It takes place in 2009, October 27th. I was 17 years old, staying at home, watching my little sister, who was 4 years old. We were in the living room watching her favorite movie. That's when the phone rang. At first, it was my mother calling to ask me if everything is going all right. I replied yeah, and she said that they would be home at around 4 a.m. Being a weekend, I like to stay up late and play my GameCube. So as I was playing, I heard my sister in the room next to me talking, and I asked her what she was doing. And she said, "I'm talking to the nice old lady." Immediately, I felt shivers down my spine, because I vaguely heard an old woman's voice. I slowly walked into the living room and saw no one, and asked my sister again who she was talking to, and she replied the same answer. I then asked, "Where is she?" And my sister said that the lady had to leave, but she was going to be back. So me, being freaked out and hoping my sister was just imagining this, I decided to sit with her on the couch for a bit, just to make sure. For 30 minutes, nothing happened. At this point, it's 10:30. Then the phone rang again. Me thinking it's my mom, I answered and said, "Mom, are you going to be back sooner than 4? But I heard no reply, just a steady breathing. So after a few seconds, I hung up. Being super creeped out now, I was on edge. I had to go to the bathroom, so I told my sister if she sees that old lady again, to scream so I'll know. I'm in the bathroom and I look in the mirror. The lights flickered, which they've never done, and I heard my sister scream. I ran out as fast as I could when she was crying. I said, "Did you see her?" And she said, "No, I saw a big, mean monster." In that moment, I grabbed the phone to call my mom, and when I did, the phone was just beeping, and I heard a voice say, in a whisper, "Run." I grabbed my sister and ran into my parents' room and locked the door. We were on the bed, and I heard footsteps in the hallway leading to the door. Then the doorknob started to jiggle. I yelled, "Go away," as my sister was still crying. Then the lights flickered again, and the door started to open slowly, so I grabbed my sister and quickly went into the closet to our right. We then heard big footsteps walk around the room, with heavy cow-like breathing. Then, whatever it was, left. We stayed in the closet, even hearing the phone ring many times. My parents came home early because we weren't answering the phone, and I heard the door open, heard my dad yell my name, and I just yelled back, "Help." They came frantically into the room and asked where we were, and I said, "In the closet." After all that, they asked me what happened. Did someone break in? I was shaking as I told them the story. Both me and my sister still remember what happened, and her seeing an old woman checks out with an old lady who died here before we bought the house. My parents believe us, and since then we've had my grandpa, who is a pastor, come in and bless the house. We've bought crosses. Thankfully, nothing like this has happened since. I know most people won't believe me and say I'm crazy, but I saw what I saw. Let's first begin with saying that this occurred in October in 2012. Me and a few of my friends went out hiking up in the Appalachian Mountains. During the fall, it's so amazing to just hike the trails with all the colors and mountain scenery. Our plan was to hike out a couple miles and set up camp in a place with an awesome view. And this place is a spot my friend Jacob went a lot with his family. As we hiked to the campsite, which took about an hour, was blissful, nothing out of the ordinary. But once we got to the campsite and was setting up camp, we actually had a run-in with a few campers who seemed pretty spooked. I asked them, "How's it going?" And they just said, "We're getting the hell out of here." Which was like, okay, why? And all the two guys said was, "I don't know, man, we're out hiking from our campsite. We saw a really huge bear that was shaking trees." So me and my friends just started laughing, and we were saying, "You're really that afraid of bears?" Which, in hindsight, we should have left as well. But how could we take two people who looked and talked like hippies serious? After they had left, we had no encounter with anything for the first night. For the second day, my friend Chase said when he went to go take a shit, he heard someone faintly call out his name. But the two of us were still at the camp talking to each other, so it couldn't have been us that said his name. So of course, we laughed it off. And he sort of did as well, but he still looked spooked, as if he had seen a ghost. Later in the day, we were hiking to this spot with an amazing view, a big rock that was perfect for Instagram pics. And while I was up on the rock taking a selfie, we all heard what sounded like a loud roar. Not sure what the hell that was, we all started frantically looking around. That's when we saw the bear the hippies were talking about. But it was no bear. It was more like a tall, mangy looking dog that sprinted in the direction of our camp. We all saw this thing and heard its loud steps as it leaped through the trees. Not knowing what to do, Jacob said that we have to get back to camp. That's when I noted that the thing ran in the direction of camp. We decided to slowly start making our way back. I was only equipped with bear spray and a knife, and same goes for Jacob and Chase. After a slow walk back, we'd gotten back to our camp, and everything seemed okay. But after we got back, one of the hippies from the other day approached our camp again. We said, "You were right, we need to get the hell out of here." But I noticed that this guy looked very off, like the light was missing from his eyes. I said, "Hey, where's your buddy from the other day?" He just replied with a smile, as I noticed blood was dripping down his arm. I said, "Hey, easy pal, stay right where you are." In that moment, I was reaching for my knife. He let out a scream and ran directly at me so fast I had no time to think. I drove my knife right into his neck and pushed him to the ground. I yelled to my friends, "We got to leave now." Without packing anything, we booked it back to our vehicle. But like I said, we walked for about an hour, so running seemed to take about 25-ish minutes, especially when you feel like your life's on the line. As we approached the truck, we heard that distinct roar again. Without skipping a beat, we all got in and drove away to the nearest town. Being on back roads at dusk, I could have sworn I had seen that dog creature in my rear view along the tree line almost following us. After we got to the town, we went straight to the police station and told them what happened. The thing that makes me so uneasy after the fact is that the hippie I stabbed was never found. He had long hair and the other had short hair. The one with short hair was found a few days later, 5 miles back towards where they said they were camping. I don't know what we encountered, but I haven't been back to those mountains since. The story takes place Halloween Day, 2015. Me and my friends all dressed up to go trick-or-treating. We lived in a decent neighborhood where everyone knew everyone. We had already hit all the rich houses and got a shit ton of candy. But as the night went on, we had to start moving towards the not-so-nice part of the neighborhood. There's usually this guy who is really fat and hairy who doesn't wear a shirt. So we really didn't want to go there, so we went to this other house that was a bit more run down, but we knew somebody was living there. They had a big bowl of candy out, so we went right up to the door. As we did, the guy who lived there opened up the door and said, kinda creepy like, "Hello, children." We said, "Trick or treat," and "Thank you." But as we were gonna leave, the old man said, "I have more candy inside for you boys, all on the table." Which, at first, the guy was kinda weird, but he was also old, so we didn't think much of it. Also, the richer families do the same thing where they lay a ton of candy all over their tables inside. So me and my 2 other friends go in, and he shuts the door behind us, leading us to his kitchen. His house was so creepy. I'll never forget the weird paintings of women on his walls and how some of the wallpaper was smoke-stained. The smell was so terrible. I'm glad I was wearing a mask with my costume. We had gotten our candy and told the old man thanks. As we did, he said, "Hold on. I have one more treat for you boys." And as he left the room, we all said, "Let's get out of here," and ran outside as fast as we could. We met our parents and didn't say a word about that creep. Months later, the old man was busted for being a serial murderer and rapist. On the news, it said that there were 7 bodies in his home from neighboring towns. Not a day goes by that I think we could have been his next victims. I'm really glad I didn't mix the candy he gave us with the rest, and yes, I threw it away. Who knows what he did to it? What he was going to do to us? My name is Jason. I'm a 26-year-old who lives in a small town in the United States. These events I'm going to share with you all have left me scared for the last 2 years. It was Halloween night. All the kids in the nearby town were out trick-or-treating. Me being too old to trick-or-treat and being an only child, I haven't dressed up for quite a few years. My house is located at least a 5-minute walk outside the town, tucked by some trees, with a decent 20-acre forest behind my house. The nearest house is in either direction down the road, 5 minutes away. I had just gotten home from the store to pick up some food and candy to leave out in case anyone, for some reason, decided to come to my house. I was in the process of making my food when upstairs I heard a loud bang. It was as if something had fell. So I did what any reasonable person living alone would do. I grabbed my shotgun from the closet and went to investigate. It was in the guest bedroom by the window, which had big blackout drapes. A stand-up mirror was tipped over that was leaning against the wall. It was something my mother gave me as a housewarming gift. The strange thing was that it didn't shatter at all, but when I picked it up to lean it against the wall, I heard another loud bang coming from downstairs. So at this point, I'm freaked out. Nothing like this has happened before. No weird noises, no loud bangs, nothing. So I rushed down to see what the second bang was. I immediately see that the window by the couch was wide open and that a lamp next to the window was on the ground, completely shattered. I yelled, "Hello," thinking it could be a Halloween prank to try to scare me, and I get no response from that though. But as I walk over to shut the window, I hear a faint and whispery, "Hey," come from right outside the window. I jump back, shotgun in hand, and yell, "Whoever's out there, show yourself." Still, no answer. Then, I hear a loud bang from upstairs, followed by footsteps on the hardwood floor. At this point, I'm not thinking this is just a prank, so I ran outside to my truck, hopped in, and drove away as fast as I could to the town. I called the police and said that someone broke into my house. After the police arrived and searched the place, they found no sign of anyone. It had me confirm nothing was stolen. To my surprise, all my valuables were still there, but that mirror upstairs was gone. So that made me extremely curious. I called my mom up and asked her where she got the mirror, and she said that her mother gave it to her and it's been passed down since the 1800s. Other than that, she didn't say anything else about it. Why steal a mirror? Who would steal a mirror? If anyone has any idea as to why or who, please let me know.